The most insane, ridiculous, and most fall event in America in 2025 has begun. Trial of the Diddler. And before a single witness took the stand, even before a single jury member was selected, very crazy things started to happen. And strange thing is, not only is Diddy pleading not guilty, but he also rejected a plea deal, making me think that in spite all the evidence and odds against him, Diddy just might go free. No. Wait. Now, because this is a federal trial, that means no cameras and no audio recordings are allowed in the courtroom. And they are very strict about this, which has resulted in a shit ton of reporters and YouTubers lining up inside and outside the courtroom to report on exactly what's going on. And today, I've summarized all the highlights just for you. But just in case you might want to hop on a flight yourself, well, 如果你要去美国看 Diddy 的 court case, 那别忘了 activated eSIM service. And in this case, Saily is your best choice, son. 我跟你讲, I've been using Saily for a long minute, and it is super easy and convenient to use. Just a few simple taps to select a plan, make a payment, and the service is immediately activated. 你完全不用担心到国外没有 Wi-Fi 怎么办? And no more needing to apply for an expensive roaming service. Because with the Saily app installed, it gives you a great sense of security, yo. 而且你只要下载一次. And if you plan on hopping and traveling all around the world, you don't need to reinstall it. All you gotta do is open it up and change your country location. Super convenient. And check this, Saily covers over 200 countries, yo. Basically, wherever you go, Saily's got you covered. And you know what else Saily covers? Internet security, son. That's right, it also has its own VPN, monitoring and protecting your traffic so that you don't have to worry about malicious attacks when connected on public Wi-Fi. And if you run into any problems, Saily has 24-hour online personal support just for you. So if any problems arise or you decide you want a refund, they can help you immediately. Wagariko, Saily is the best service you will ever use. So you know what it is, go to saily.com/howgg to download it and enter in our very own promo code howgg to get a 15% discount. So get on the best eSIM service right now, son, Saily. So after you downloaded Saily, you know what it is. And today we're gonna have a very truffle toffee flavored 代际剁掉。等一下，马啊。Okay, so before we get started, smash that like button to help the algorithm, because we've been gone for a long minute.
Do it! Do it!
So by the time you see this video, Diddy's trial will have already finished day 3. And although the feds have been pushing hard to make him look like a monster, there is still a chance that Diddy not only may escape the federal charges, but might even go free.
Son of a...
Now, regardless of the outcome of this case, the Diddler still faces 50 different civil cases. But this one is the only criminal case, and it's federal, where he is charged with racketeering conspiracy, 2 counts of sex trafficking, and 2 counts of transporting individuals for prostitution. And the star witness who actually cooperated with the FBI is Diddy's ex-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura.
Hip-hop mogul Sean Diddy Combs and singer Cassie Ventura have settled their legal dispute. The two both issued statements announcing a settlement in the lawsuit. It came just one day after it was filed.
Now, Cassie's lawsuit ignited Hollywood's biggest scandal. Do you guys remember after the video of Diddy assaulting Cassie leaked on CNN and his response?
I was up. I hit rock bottom, but I make no excuses. My behavior on that video is inexcusable. I take full responsibility for my actions in that video.
Now, since then, he has deleted this post, but at the time, we thought that he was admitting to everything, right? Because if he wasn't guilty, why apologize, right?
Wrong.
Well, although Diddy apologized on social media, his legal defense claimed that the video was doctored and inadmissible as evidence in court. And most importantly, that he's not guilty.
What kind of shit is that?
Now, fortunately, the judge presiding over this case is strict as fuck. And he rejected Diddy's request to not let the video be used in the prosecution's case, which is going to carry a lot of weight on their end.
Ventura told the jury she met Combs at 19 years old and was just 22 when he asked her to participate in the first freak-off, explaining that she felt humiliated and confused, but ultimately happy that he was satisfied.
Diddy's legal team, led by Mark Agnifilo, is arguing that Cassie's claims are all BS, where she says that Diddy forced her to take mind-altering substances and forced her to participate in these freak-off parties. They're saying saying that Cassie was more than willing to participate. In fact, she enjoyed it. Now you can see just how ridiculous American criminal defense lawyers can be. They'll make some ridiculous as but very logical arguments to defend their clients. But before the trial even started, one of the lawyers on Diddy's defense team decided to leave, citing that according to the American Bar Association's criminal justice standards, he could no longer effectively defend Combs. In other words,
I'm out, man. That nigga's tripping.
We used to go to when we go to the club, we used to have these bottles, right? And on this bottle, they be regular Moet bottles. On them bottles right there, they've been had something to make the girls be real slippery and all of this kind of stuff. So when you get up, they be like, don't touch them bottles right there and only drink them bottles right there. So we already knew what the drill was. You just don't mess with them bottles, right? Then all of the girls is in the club after a while. They all running, opening up their mouth like little birds. He's running around just popping pills in their mouth. Pop, pill. And then that was the party.
Now, in addition to Diddy denying all wrongdoing at any of the parties, his defense is that basically he was too up. He was under the influence of drugs and alcohol, and he was mentally unfit. So it would be impossible for him to plan or even execute any of these criminal acts. So according to them, Diddy's innocent, and he will clear his name.
Right.
Wagariko. Do not underestimate this lawyer. He is very skilled and might actually get Diddy off. I mean, does anyone remember the name O.J. Simpson?
Hey, everybody know ain't no party like a Diddy party, so.
14 years old. You're a dad now. Would you ever send your kid to Puffy camp?
Hell no. And here is where it gets interesting, because the prosecution is planning to call up to 20 witnesses. Now, a male escort hired by Diddy to participate in the freak-offs has already testified, along with Cassie and Diddy's former assistant. But the others are choosing to hide their names to protect their public image and avoid embarrassment, which leads me to believe that they are most likely public figures or even celebrities. And if we're lucky, possibly, maybe one of them or even two of them are Justin Bieber and Usher. And then another bigger, more important possibility is that one of these witnesses is Diddy's former right-hand woman, KK, who is also implicated in all this shit. If KK actually flips and becomes a cooperating witness, that means Diddy could be in prison long enough to see the Dalai Lama reincarnate 3 times. But hey, who knows? Maybe this lawyer really can beat the prosecution. And bruh, the entire prosecution is all women, led by the same woman who put Jeffrey Epstein's girlfriend in jail. This is a straight up real life Avengers.
Don't worry. She's got help.
Okay, so in the next chapter, we're gonna head straight inside the courtroom, and you're gonna see just how Diddy might be able to snap his fingers like Thanos and make all this shit go away, seeing him get off scot-free. Woo! 你这个爆米花烟吗？赶快下单起来 ，cause 代志大条。Okay, so it is important to note that this trial cannot be recorded or filmed, so observers are limited to taking handwritten notes, and no video or verbatim transcript exists anywhere in the world. At least for now anyway. And what you're about to experience is a careful compilation from multiple eyewitness sources, enhanced through AI simulation to recreate the courtroom conversations and scenes. These simulated dialogues help make this landmark American trial accessible and understandable for everyone to follow along. And although it's not the actual court conversations, it's close enough, and sounds pretty tight too.
Tight, yeah!
Okay, so let's start with the jury selection. The jury is one of the most crucial parts of delivering the verdict, so all lawyers from both sides have to be extremely careful about what they say from the very beginning.
Now, if you're representing a celebrity like Sean Combs, whose name has been dragged through the mud in the last 1.5 to 2 years, put that to the side. Who do you want as a juror on this case? For a celebrity client, celebrity defendant, who do you want on this jury?
I think you want somebody who wants to serve, someone eager to serve, because that suggests that person might be inclined toward a celebrity like Diddy. I would also, in this case, I would want men, not because men support abuse, but I could see this being very difficult for women jurors. I would want younger jurors as well. I don't know that older jurors would be good for him.
Now, you might remember this guy. He was on Johnny Depp's team and helped him win his civil case. Based on him, if Diddy wants to win, then the jury must be made up primarily of young males. The older the jury, the worse it gets for Diddy.
Okay, because you had one prospective juror who told the court that she had been sexually assaulted as a teenager, and that if the defense brings up at trial that, look, these alleged victims didn't report what they say happened to them, this juror indicated they would understand why and they would be biased in the alleged victim's favor. This juror was excluded. Talked about another juror hearing about the Combs case on CNN, admitted that they leaned in a negative light towards him, having committed some sort of crimes. That juror was excluded. You had another juror who wrote on the questionnaire that P. Diddy has money and could buy his way out. And when asked by the court, what did you mean by that? This potential juror doubled down and said, just what I wrote. That juror was excused for cause. You have a juror who reportedly told the court that they saw the Cassie Ventura video, and despite this juror saying they could be fair in court on the questionnaire, apparently the juror wrote they were unsure if they could be fair. That juror was excluded.
Then on top of that, they're gonna want jurors who haven't watched too much YouTube or gossip news. Shit, they might have a better chance looking at a Mormon church.
Maybe?
So after nearly 3 days of selection, the jury was ultimately finalized, selecting 18 jurors in total, 6 alternates and 12 to sit in the courtroom and decide the fate of the diddler. 8 men and 4 women. But once you start to look into some of their backgrounds, then you begin to understand why the diddler just might go free.
Juror number 2, a white man, 69 years of age, and a massage therapist from Manhattan. The trained actor is single with no kids and has worked at 2 luxury hotels which could come up during the trial.
看他年代你就知道他应该对 domestic violence 很熟悉哦. Then add in the fact that he's single with no kids and as a trained actor worked at luxury hotels, he's probably seen his fair share of wild shit. 看这种东西可能觉得很正常吧. And with him having at least a little bit of knowledge of how the entertainment industry and how rich people work, it's safe to say he just might rule in Diddy's favor.
Juror number 5, a white man, 31 years of age, and an investment analyst from Manhattan. He called himself an active churchgoer and a member of a country club. The juror said he was opposed to the death penalty, but as that wasn't an issue in this case, he could serve.
So you got a 31-year-old white male who's against the death penalty and works in finance. And I don't know about you, but I saw The Wolf of Wall Street, and they were into all sorts of fuckery. So I'm guessing this guy's had his fair share of fun, or at least seen some of it, and is pretty liberal when it comes to people's weird sexual preferences. And this could fall into Diddy's favor.
Juror number 25, a Hispanic man, 51 years old, and a scientist from Manhattan. He said he likes to watch nature documentaries and knew Diddy had been accused of violent behavior and said that he saw the video of Diddy up his ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura while he was at the gym. He also saw a report that people had been drugged, but said he wouldn't be biased.
Okay, so we got a 51-year-old male scientist. And as we know, for the past 15 years anyway, the science community has leaned heavily liberal. And when it comes to scientists, they love evidence. They need proof. And up until this point, other than a video or two, there's only been witness testimony. So a scientist who's logical and rational may not be heavily swayed by the emotional testimony of the witnesses. And this is exactly what Diddy's defense team needs.
Juror number 55, a black woman, aged 42, and a dietary aide in a nursing home from Manhattan. She has 2 children and likes reading Harry Potter books and watching Disney and Marvel movies. Her only criminal record was being caught with an open bottle of alcohol when she was younger, earning a joking admonishment from the judge.
A 42-year-old black woman who likes to watch Disney and Marvel. I think it's safe to say she is woke as fuck. Which puts her in the liberal camp, and I'm sure she's used to arguing semantically, not factually, which is exactly what Diddy needs.
Juror number 217, a black woman who is 74 years old and a retired treatment coordinator who worked with the blind. Originally from Manhattan, she lives alone, reads the New York Times, watches CBS and ABC News, and likes classical music.
Alright, so let's set aside her age for a minute. She watches CBS, ABC, reads the New York Times, and lives in Manhattan. I think it's safe to say that she is liberal as fuck. Yo. And as we all know, with a liberal high mind, it's all about live and let live. Be free. Express yourself. Be accepting. So she could play into Diddy's favor. So out of the 12 members of the jury, 10 seem to lean liberal and 8 of them are male. And when you hear Diddy's defense team's opening statements, then you will know exactly how it will swing in his favor. So now let's take a look at Diddy defense lawyer's opening statement.
Sean Combs is a complex person, but this is not a complex case. This case is about love, jealousy, infidelity, and money. This case is about voluntary choices made by adults and consensual relationships. This case is about real-life relationships, and the government is trying to distort these relationships into cases of criminal organizations, prostitution, and sex trafficking. This won't work. I believe that considering the circumstances of these allegations, these charges, even just those hotel surveillance footage, you will hear evidence, you will know the truth, you will see witnesses and evaluate them one by one, and finally, at last, the truth of this case can be revealed. Why am I saying this? I say this because this case is different from what you've seen in the news, reports, or social media over the past year and a half. This case is not what those civil lawyers trying to make money are attempting to portray my client as. There has been too much noise around this case in the past year, and now it's time to stop this noise and listen to and see the evidence that will be presented in court. Sean Combs' story is captivating, but also a very human story. We will tell you a story in this courtroom over the next 2 months. So far, you have heard the government say many things about my client. Now it's time for me to introduce him to you. His name is Sean Combs.
Now this is Diddy's defense lawyer's opening statement, verbatim. Brought to you in part by one of my favorite YouTubers, Rotten Mango. And check this, she was actually in the courtroom that day.
And at this point, I almost peed myself because Diddy stands up and it's like kind of abrupt. Like I wasn't expecting him to stand up. Okay, so there's 2 ways that we were trying to describe it and we don't know which one's more accurate. So the first way, it almost feels like maybe because he was so statuesque the whole day, he forgot how his limbs move and then he just like shot up out of his chair like a little rocket heading into space. Or it feels kind of like a military roll call. Just like shoots up, back straight, posture straight. And I do think it's awkward because it's not like I don't think he can just like wave at the jurors. That comes off very high, right? So he just stands up.
His name is Sean Combs. You may have heard his other names, Puff, Puffy, P, Diddy, Puff Daddy, but now he's 55 years old, standing in the courtroom of the place where he was born and raised. He was born and raised here. He now goes by his original name, the name he was given at birth, Sean Combs. I am Tenny Garagos, and I am honored to serve as one of his defense attorneys.
By this point, he sits back down. His hands are folded in his lap.
The prosecution will bring in those same employees and others into this courtroom and have them testify that Sean Combs has a temper. And when he drank or when he did the wrong drugs, he would get violent. My client is not proud of that, but it is one of the many things we are going to own and fully admit right up at the front of this trial. Sean Combs has a bad temper. He sometimes gets so angry or so jealous that he is out of control. You will see evidence and you will hear some testimony that does not portray my client in a good light. You will hear some text messages, some voice notes, and some witness testimony that may make you think, I don't think this guy is a great guy. I don't like how he just lied to his girlfriends. I don't like the things he just said in that text message. I want to tell you now, there may be one point, there may be multiple points at this trial where you think, I think he is a jerk, and I think he is kind of mean. But he is not being charged with being mean. He's not charged with being a jerk. He's charged with running a racketeering enterprise.
Now, when Diddy's lawyer reached this point, Rotten Mango glanced around the entire courtroom and she could see that a lot of people were very visibly upset, especially women. And you need to keep in mind, the lawyer defending Diddy is also a woman.
And though there was violence that you are going to hear about, you already have. That violence is not part of any RICO. That violence is not connected to sex trafficking, and that violence is not prostitution. There was a name in criminal law for the violence that we will hear about and we will see at this trial. It is called domestic violence. It is called assault. Domestic violence is a very serious matter. I want to say that now. It is a bad, illegal problem, and it is something that the law addresses. We take full responsibility that there was domestic violence in this case. Domestic violence is not trafficking. I want to say it again. Domestic violence is not sex trafficking.
Now, I gotta say, this lawyer is very good at creating brainwashing slogans. She pushes the whole thing towards domestic violence, and these 6 words are easy to remember. Domestic violence is not sex trafficking. Do you remember the slogan from the O.J. Simpson trial?
If it doesn't fit, you must acquit.
Domestic violence is not sex trafficking. Had he been charged with domestic violence, had he been charged with assault, we would not be here right now. We would not be sitting through an 8-week trial. However, he has been charged with different crimes, sex trafficking, prostitution, racketeering. These are federal crimes with their different statutes. They charge different elements, and he is simply not guilty of those crimes. One of the central themes of my statements to you will be personal accountability and personal responsibility. As the trial goes on, we will see that with each witness, we are going to take that on ourselves. We will not shy away from the things Mr. Combs did, but we will not deny his personal responsibility or own the things that he did not do. We are telling you right now that he is physical, that he is a drug user, and I'm telling you he had a bit of a different sex life. For example, you may have not heard any evidence in this case, but the prosecutors already told you about lubricant, and you may know of his love of baby oil. Is that a federal crime? No. You will hear that he got IVs after ingesting drugs. Is that a federal crime? No.
Baby oil is not a crime. Here, she's created yet another great slogan. And I bet you in a month or two, shit, the way Kanye's be leading, maybe in a week or two, there will be a song released called Baby Oil is Not a Crime.
Baby oil ain't no crime. But Diddy's butt cheeks look so fine. Oh, baby oil ain't no crime. But damn, Diddy's butt cheeks look so fine. Slide it in.
Bad boy. I like this right here.
He will be responsible. He will be accountable for the things that he did. But we will fight for his freedom throughout the next 8 weeks for what he did not do. And he cannot be the only person in this case who accepts personal responsibility and accountability for his actions. The alleged victims who will testify in this case are capable, strong adult women. They are all getting something each of them wanted from him and from being in a romantic relationship with him. And those adult, capable, strong women will have to take on the same level of personal responsibility for their lives that he is going to take on for his. When any person in life makes an adult choice, that is a free choice. A free choice has pros, it has cons. You may think there are better choices, you may think there are worse choices, but that does not eliminate the personal responsibility behind those choices. And each of the women you will hear from, they all had the personal responsibility and the freedom to make the choices that they made. You will hear from these women. You will see these women. You will meet them. They will sit in that witness chair a few feet away, and you will evaluate them for yourselves. You will see that they are capable. You will see that they are strong. You will see that they made free choices every single day for years. As you are listening to the evidence and you listen to them testify, I want you to ask yourselves, what are all the ways that this individual had the ability to make that choice? Ask yourself, what are they getting from being with Sean Combs? They are not with him because they are stuck or because they are without a choice. The government will try to show you that Sean Combs is the only one getting something from each of the alleged victims who testify in this case. But with each of these individuals, ask yourselves, what is this person getting? They are with him or they are working for him because they are getting something they want from being with him. Now, with each person, that something may be different, and it usually is. But with each person, they are all getting something.
All right, so firstly, the lawyer admitted that Diddy is a lubed up bastard covered in baby oil. But he's also a slippery bastard to take responsibility. But he's not a criminal bastard. Then the lawyer starts portraying Cassie as a gold digger, a strong woman with free choice, free will, free to take this man's money. And she chose to be with Diddy. But ultimately, she must take responsibility for her choices. Whew, this lawyer is good.
Combs is one of those men that I'll submit to you, we all know. The evidence is going to show that he is somebody who never married, but he needed to always have a woman around. He is a many-woman man. He has 7 children by 4 different women, and he is the kind of guy who is always in relationships. In fact, he was always in multiple relationships, but critically, he was not always honest about the fact. And you'll find that even when women knew he was in multiple relationships, this would drive a primal jealousy in people. It would drive a lot of the choices you are going to see in this case. You will see that these women are strong, capable, and that they were in love with him. You will see that breaches of trust, infidelity, and jealousy are what drove the domestic violence you will hear about. You will see that alcohol and drugs played a major role in his temper, and the evidence is going to show you a very flawed individual, but it will not show you a racketeer, a sex trafficker, or somebody transporting for prostitution.
So not only do they keep pushing the gold digger narrative, but also they're claiming that women, out of jealousy towards Diddy's other women, had feelings of betrayal and argued with Diddy, and combined with Diddy's fondness for drinking and drugs, this is what led Diddy to become physically violent during his arguments.
So as we've said, you're going to hear from 2 women, Cassie and Jane. This case is in large part about his sexual relationships with these 2 women, and you're going to hear that they went to private hotel rooms to engage in what I expect some witnesses at this case to call the swingers lifestyle, which is essentially just a fancier terminology for victims by adults. You might hear about his kinky sex or his preferences about sex that may make you uncomfortable and may not be what you like to do in your own bedroom. But you are not here to judge him for sexual preferences. You are not here to judge him for all purposes. You are here to evaluate whether the government can prove beyond a reasonable doubt what they actually charged him with. They cannot.
So what this lawyer is really trying to say is that Cassie was just in it for the bag, and she was well aware that Diddy had multiple girlfriends. But she was jealous and loved to get into confrontations with a diddler. Then add in the fact that Cassie wasn't all too keen on the goofy, kinky sex shit. This led to a lot of conflict and thus led to the domestic violence. So this is a domestic issue, not a federal issue.
Fuck you.
Cassie was very jealous and broke up with Diddy and then started dating her now husband. And then eventually Kim Porter passes away, and the defense states that in November of 2018, Kim Porter tragically passed away from pneumonia. Knowing that Combs would be distraught and wanting to be there for him, she did everything she could to be there. She came to his memorial service at his home. She flew to Kim's home state of Georgia to be at the funeral. Don't lose the sight of the fact that amidst to breakup all the way at the end of 2018, she flew to a funeral service to be there for him and support him and his family during this trying time of their lives. And at the service, at their home, Combs to a group of loved ones, former employees and others, and to many people who, on social media, were paying respect said, and I quote, "Kim was my soulmate." In Cassie's presence, for everybody to hear, he said she was my soulmate. The end of the relationship between Cassie and Combs is important, and I want you to focus on the evidence of how and why it ended. When Combs publicly stated Kim Porter was his soulmate to all the people around him who were there. For the first time, maybe ever, Cassie realized all the things she would not be. I expect many witnesses at this trial to tell you she wanted to become his wife. I expect even she may tell you that. That is what she spent 11 years trying to get, and in one day it became very clear to Cassie she was never going to be that. And if she was never going to become his wife, if she was never going to be the love of his life, then she would leave. And that is what she did on her terms, her choice for reasons that for her were the right reasons. The defense does state when she made the decision to leave, there were no repercussions as the government hinted. She made the choice to leave. She communicated it to him, and then she ran into the arms of another man.
Now this is some really detestable shit. What the lawyer is saying here is basically that Cassie was madly in love with Diddy, and because she couldn't become his wife, well, hell hath no fury like a woman scorned, so she decided to file charges. And after leaving Diddy, she immediately got together with another dude. And here's the kicker. While all this was being said, Cassie was in the courtroom, 8 months pregnant, hearing all this being said, along with her husband as well.
You will hear that the government raided 2 of his homes. You've already heard that over a year ago. They seized countless electronic devices. The only freak-off videos you will see or hear about at this trial came from her devices that she kept for 5 years. So when the government talks about power and control, who had the power? Who had the control?
Now, this part I had no idea about. I looked at a lot of material for this case, but this is truly the first time I'm learning about this, yo. The video evidence of the party was recorded by Cassie's own phone, and she kept it for 5 years? Well, bruh, this may make folks think that Cassie secretly recorded this evidence in premeditation for her lawsuit. But if it indeed turns out to be verified as people just having fun on camera, then this might hurt Cassie's credibility very bad. No. Wait. So the defense is really smart, which is exactly why they want more liberal-leaning people on the jury. Because generally speaking, the liberal agenda is
believe all women, respect all women.
And the lawyer completely acknowledges that Diddy beat this girl and didn't respect this girl. But disrespecting and beating a woman does not equal sex trafficking. It is not a federal crime. And if we look at the liberal hive mind,
you must go even deeper. It's a systemic issue. You must see the nuance. Because if prostitution were called sex work, and if it were actually legal, then women would have bodily autonomy, and there wouldn't even be a problem. It's the system.
Tight, yeah!
And most importantly, keeping in alignment with the liberal hive mind, we need to be accepting of the diversity of kinky shit and encourage sexual equity, meaning everyone gets laid. And most importantly, we need to be inclusive of everyone's different and unique sexual preferences. And to make sure everything runs smooth, well, we need lube, which ultimately makes me wonder, is baby oil a crime?
Baby oil ain't no crime. But Diddy's butt cheeks look so fine. Oh, baby oil ain't no crime. But damn, Diddy's butt cheeks look so fine. Slide it in.
Bad boy.
Tenny Garagos gets up to do the opening statements for the defense. She's wearing a white turtleneck, a black pantsuit that's completely pleated in the back. She is, I would say, much more in control when she walks up. She doesn't look like she's reading as much as the prosecution did. She's looking at the jurors more often. She seems a lot more prepared than the prosecutor did during the opening statements. One thing that I did notice that a lot of people noticed where I was sitting is that it appeared that she had white nail polish on. I know, like in the last one, I was like, I feel like it was pink. In her interview, it looked pretty white. And I was like, I don't know if it's me. But then like both my researchers were like, no, it looks really white.
And that's a choice she made.
I guess, yeah. If it's white,
yeah,
it's a choice.
And I think everyone present agrees that she is more confident than the prosecutor, more thoroughly prepared, and more importantly, why in the hell would you choose white nail polish? Now, I'm not exactly a nail polish expert, but if you are, let me know what the reason could be down below. But I gotta say, for this opening round, to me, Diddy won. Now, me personally, I hope they throw the book of this motherfucker, he gets life in prison. But on the other hand, if it turns out the diddler is truly innocent, well, that would be the biggest plot twist since Trump getting elected a second time.
Trust me, I'm like a smart person.
Now, this is just the first episode. And at the next episode, we're gonna see Cassie, along with a couple other very interesting witnesses, take the stand and spill the beans on everything. 这么精彩，让我们继续看下去. But before you 看下去, make sure you download Saily and also get yourself some delicious 爆米花 from 新手工坊. Link down below, and I will see you on the flip side. Peace!